Ah, jeunesse sociale, adéquence, l'union fait la force, hein. Beau Vitola, voyons plein bas. Commandant Timoléon, l'été, dingo non. Ah, au Sogoro, dis oh, ah, oh, dingo non, dingo non, ah, oh, Dieu, ah, Dieu, ah, nous sommes plein bas, ah, oh, I don't have a point, but you see, I come on. I don't put you down the last I let your way. I have the same. Oh, it's from that I die. They go now. The blood is on you, they go now. So happy money on you, they go now. Really send you a day, they go now. That's why nobody you find they go now. Oh, dear. Getting a ball on you, oh, dear. I cannot go and play your paper. Nigga, you give him away. Papa, you don't never wear that way. How do you? Nigga, you give him away. Oh, Papa, you don't never wear that way. You don't never go back. Okay, I don't put you down the end of us. I can't your way. Tonto Natalie, oh, you know better, you are dying. They go no. I was so good, yeah, I did. Oh, yeah, Monkey for you, they want to the other side, you, they want to welcome you, they want to they go no. But I was you, they want to oh, yeah, but that's not you, they want to oh, yeah, I was a go play, yeah, yo. Maman, like boy, Marie, I said, Mondo, Clau Blas Sylvain, c'est ta George. Nous, les passés dans le know, I got the dose combi. Canou, de la maman, voyons plein, Son Robert, son Bernadette, dingo, le colonel Bas François. Moi après, moi après, Président, Oscar Pascal, you know Agnès Sike. Moa, Keke Delmas, Zoué Pierre, Aïssia, Salut Robert, son peu poisson, le président, à au second, I cannot go and play your prayer. Cano, you get to know, I was a master. Nicky Young in Baba Boy, why was you never ever out you? Nicky Young in Baba Boy, oh, how was you never ever? Si nous n'est pas mal karaoké,
Good evening, folks. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. I am Afonso Z, and so right here at the Liberia Public Radio 10 LPR-TV. It's 8:04 Eastern Standard Time, right here from the New England Bureau Decks. We want to welcome our folks, the ambassador, taking over Johnson. Let's welcome our own man right inside UK, Roosevelt Johnson Jr. Good evening to welcome and all our many viewers, listeners, Elisha, right here in my own ocean state of Rhode Island. Good evening to welcome. Let's do a little bit of recognitions as we observe this sort of a day today that reflects some bad memories, but it's part of what we achieved. Good evening to welcome Mr. Krumant, of course, our own Sisi Goya. Anant, good evening. Thank you to Rondov Jala, Dakan Balayant, and of course, my own cause, there's in North Carolina, John Alexander Kuyage. Benene is coming into the hall. A lot of you will hear me calling him. Folks, we want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you so much for sharing your evening with me. I'm Alfonso Z. And so very shortly, the analysts, they will be here. And as usual, we're going to be having a conversation here. And this is All Things Considered. All Things Considered, I will allow you to participate. Of course, you're going to be calling in. And I speak on some of those issues in Liberia, what you think, and what should be done. We cannot just leave this with the politician. And of course, Brown, Hinant, Benedict, I thank you for joining. Let's get the program going here. And we know a lot going. Today is what we call Decoration Day in Liberia, called here Memorial. So it brings a lot of feelings, some painful feelings, and that, of course, we have to deal with as a people, as a nation. I am Alfonso Z, and so of the Liberia Public Radio. Another talking point starts right now. Good evening. I'm Alfonso Z and Sort of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you so much for joining us here this evening here. Beautiful evening right here from the East Coast. Time check here is 8:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are in Liberia, it's just a little after 12 a.m., but you're still hanging in there. We say good morning. And we want to welcome you to this evening broadcast. If you are right here in the USA under the sound of my voice, we say good morning, good evening, depending on your location. But we're still in the fresh evening here. But for those in Europe and other parts, it's pretty well early morning their time. Good evening. We say today was what? Decoration Day in Liberia. A painful one that brings into memory some of people who loves ones, close relatives, siblings, friends, people of different categories. This day is set aside by proclamations that we observe, and it is used to go and watch or cleanse our relatives, friends, loved ones, graves, whatever they should be. But I saw some images this morning from Liberia, from the sister network, I believe, Front Page Africa correspondent. He was out there, and I'm quite sure most of you saw that. That is painful, and I'm wondering to what is really going on, why nobody is making sense to do something about it. We're hopefully to bring that here. Well, if you are in my category, man pass, dad pass, then we all on the same board. It's almost like a year today since my mom passed and I was in Liberia. Sometimes people say, oh, they are old people. Yes, but it's sort of wisdom today, courage. Even when we are falling, when we are tired, those are the people that can really stick by our side. Even when a woman say, you know what, today is all done, that's where they say there's no bad bush for a child. A mother, it doesn't matter how old age is the person, your mother will ever be your mother. The mother will go hungry, her stomach will pain to get that food for you to eat. and they would prefer to be starved. Good mother, for the most part, all of us, you, many others, you know the story. Some of us went through it. Mother used to go in the bush, do different things just to get a little primary education. Cut pandas, what they call, if you are comfortable like myself, papo, go in the swamp, refill them, to sell it, do anything possibly they can, because they want their child to go somewhere. You know, when you reach a certain stage, at least, or you're working for your own money, it doesn't matter where the money is coming from. And then all of a sudden, things just happen like that. You can't question the old man all day. He is the finisher of our faith. It's kind of a little bit painful. So I want to take this time to have my senior brothers saw some images coming from inside Liberia. Today, we just kind of like go into your mom's grave, your senior brother, niece, almost within the same things, gives a sort of feeling. So I was at work, I like, no, this is not really happening out today. I'll just be here, but I'm just going to keep it cool by myself. And I know many of you will find that. But there are other people who never even had a chance to go and do a brush out, to clean, or to even lay a wreath. That's the more touching thing moment. See your friends going here and then cemetery in the heart of the city. And it's just, things just fall, everything just falling apart. No one is asking questions. No one is saying anything. I'm saying this to say because there's no action. Nothing is being done. This thing Ellen Johnson said, you started somewhere, how it ended, where it left, who is to do a follow-up? Nothing. Nothing. But like me and many others, they were able to celebrate, carry flowers, and even, what's this, my mother's going home. And it's a tradition from my culture or background. Usually it's a celebration in itself. And we just want to say to many of you, you also want to thank God. Because if you think about it, this 14, 15 years safer crisis, many of you just never even had a chance to know where you die, your mom, sister, brothers, or were laid to rest. All of these are all painful situations. So when we are talking about country coming together to do what is right, it's not just only about you to feel good and others should feel bad. We must take a holistic approach. And I know exactly what my mom used to tell me. She had a parable. Sharing this is I try to all of us to take a deep breath and take a brief flashback on some of the things. And I can remember the senior brother passed, and the old people, they are people of tradition in the sense that they believe in the culture, the principle to do what is right. They want to talk to their children and children to do what is right. So when he passed, Alfonso, the other sister that's here, or the other relative, senior brother back home, we advise you guys should not get tired because your brother is no longer here. These children, they are your children. So you use a parable. All people, they are wise. They didn't go to school, no PhD, but they have what they call common sense. Their common sense is always play out well if you listen to them. You use a parable of a farmer. They get a special way that those big trees, you make a farm. If you're a farmer, some like me, you're following those big trees. If the tree is so big and inside, the bottom is huge, they get a way to embrace it, to put that sort of a lacket up there where you will go and begin to cut down, because the bottom part is wide. There's no way that you can easily tackle it to get it done rightly. So she said, if you're falling that tree, if that tree doesn't fall, do not throw your axe down. Make sure as a man, make sure that tree falls. And for you and many others, I just want to do this special song. It might sound a little bit ridiculous to you, but sometimes we have talked a lot about our country. So this day is designated to take a reflections and take a flashback of those that really get us to be who we are. Fend for us, they were there, sun, rain, walking us. We used to walk like my village to the liberal town. It's like maybe like an 1 hour, 30 minutes walk. 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning, walking, going to school, and those people, they will wake up early mornings, no current. And it's like a jack-o'-lantern just to see light for us to move. It will take us. Why? Because they want to see us to get somewhere, not to be who they are. So that tomorrow, when light comes out, we'll be able to do something for them. That was a confidence we assigned. We told her, yes, we'll take care of our nephews, nieces, and we are aware that they are our older brothers' children. So there's no way that we can break that confidence. Unfortunately, the confidence she proposed, where she told us, the cold hands of death came and snatched her. But we are grateful that we had a very great time with her. Yes, it is something we are grateful. Went through all of the wars from Sierra Leone to Ivory Coast to Ghana, and they still managed to survive. That's a lot. And I know many of you store way over than what I'm talking about here. But this is the day set aside by national government, by our country, and that we remember to try to take a deep breath and flash back on some of these things. This was the last and final moment of my mind when we're laying her to rest. I am Alfonso Z, and I will be right back.
Play your minor. Dear Lord, Mama, dear Lord. If I go soon, Mama said, to say blue and trapasson. To say blue, there is a soon, Mama said, to say blue and trapasson. To say blue, there is soon, Mama said, to say blue and trapasson. To say my own boy, no one can, but say you are young. Suppose you're such a man. Monday, DK Jawasinyangwe. Mauliawe, Anyawo, tous les bleus et toi basson, tous les bleus et toi basson, mettez sous un ballon en nous, parce que nous avons moins mal, tous les bleus et toi basson, tous les bleus et toi basson, maman c'était lourd, tous les bleus et toi basson, tous les elle n'a pas au monde le radio, tous les bleus et toi basson, tous les le refus maintenant il aye maino dadu susana faula ma c'était louo betiso nyama paya joso mu e o mo mam le lo nyan wa aju e o aye maino to maino po mu e o aye joni suru o bloyo yi o mo aye sengo aye bioko aye l'espace Maman qui brille mon zangé moi. Voilà, à ce jour là, tous ces bleus et trois passants, tous ces bleus et trois passants. Un peu un braceau, oui, et trois passants. Le pain non soy, moi bleu et Dieu, manon et trois passants. Un messo, un bleu blanc, oui yo. Moi j'ai aimé, oui au bleu, oui na yo, manon. Car du saut, un bleu manon, oui, oui, Bruni on a bleu manon, oui. Tous ces bleus et trois passants. Gano. Dike Nyangbe, Goya Emu, Super.
Dike Nyangbe, na Nyangbe, and Wilne. Oh, okay. Bompia, you are well away. Irreduo, Sia Dike Nyangbe, or Emuya, Sia Swap on the way. Up one day we be up one bar we be. Torera Dike, Yaru, and Louis there. Woodway, Nine way, not Betano, a second bow. Our back out. The bomb be the basonka, no more cane, or not come by where it one nina and what table where not two said where we do it to a support. Kind down we near Sia, kind down with where we are somewhere. He said, Bono, he said that well, he said that Gini, he said no one some pump, he said that where I put that away, I put one root away. Even for dead guy who are working and no bound dead guy, you know what I'm working. I wouldn't ma. You yeah. Mondo, come man, next year. In bed, I don't wait. Say, quid, or else so. That's why we're a power pushing. You know, bindly. I'm glad to hear that we're a man. That's why we're better. You know, just what I want. No time, no. I'm on wait poor. A poor boss, your power. Yeah, no, come on, yeah. In one mind, no way, on one do it. When you can wear a pocket, so do we make a wish only. Can only see a tea tiny. Yeah, I'm more at LPR.
When you want a mine no more, when you want out, I know I'm not in you. That's the way more mine. I know I'm not in you. They were point to us, so we're bringing a good way. I know that the end of the better soon. We have been a second time, I know. I just stand a so happy now. I wait by the portfolio. To the blue at the passon. As I tell you, I better to a certain to the blue at the passon. Eh, the power. As I'm always go, do I dare play? Check where you were, Swaswan Nayon. Joseph Rose, I said with ma room moro, I said with school. Chestia, Victoria.
I am Alfonso Zienso. I will be right back. Thank you so much for listening to our own family narrative. And I'm quite sure many of you also went through that, or probably more than what we experienced. But I want to thank you so much. We have to do it. It comes once a year. The day she passed, and I remember this day here. It's important to also take a retrospect and to be very, very much grateful of all of her tireless effort as a mother and the care that she rendered, which God was giving her more life. Well, folks, I'm Alfonso Z and Sort of the Liberia Public Radio 10 LPR-TV. But I want you to watch this, courtesy of our sister to network, the challenges that we are facing in our country, and we are not even having this conversation because we have been so much distracted by these politicians, your politicians, our politicians, and we are failing to tell them to address this issue to the extent to become a health issue in the country. Courtesy of a sister to network, I believe, or Focus on Africa, I reported today in observance of this declaration today. You know this place, Center Street Cemetery. Whether it's a cemetery or wherever it is now, why is no one doing anything about it? Why is no action being taken? Why our government, advocacy group, people, all of us, why attention is not being paid? See this courtesy of Focus on Africa correspondent. And he did a very extraordinary job. Who took his camera to take a view of Center Street Cemetery? Let's watch and see.
In the nation's capital. And so wherever you are, whatever you're doing at the moment, this is the US-based Focus on Liberia Online Television Network. We are live and direct from the historic Palm Grove Cemetery in the heart of the city, Monrovia. This is Liberia's historic cemetery. The Palm Grove Cemetery has turned into a bus grave site, making it almost impossible for relatives to claim the graves of their deceased family members. On this day, Decoration Day in Liberia, folks. As you may know, today is the second Wednesday in the month of March, and this day was set aside as Decoration Day each year in our country, where the dead are remembered. And so today we are out here just to give you a clear view of the current status of this historic site. And so all of you who are coming on, it is my pleasure to say good afternoon from Monrovia and welcome to Focus on Liberia Online Television Network. This is Liberia's historic cemetery. This is the oldest, and I stand to be corrected on this. This is the oldest cemetery in the country as we speak. And this place has turned into a bust grave site, as you can see in the video. These are graves that are open. Liberia's historic cemetery, the Palm Grove Cemetery, has turned into a bus grave site, making it almost impossible for relatives to claim the graves of their deceased family members on this day, Decoration Day. As you may know, folks, Decoration Day is celebrated or observed on the second Wednesday of March each year, and this day is set aside as a national holiday throughout the length and breadth of this country. This is the day where all Liberians will wake up early morning, visit various grave sites where their deceased family members were buried to just clean up. And so we are here today. This place is historic, folks. And as you can see, this place has turned into a real forest. Not many persons are here to clean up because of the current condition of this place. This place is highly inaccessible. It's difficult to just sail through, and it's also difficult to find the graves of your loved ones. And so, as a result of that, more Liberians did not turn out here as usual to clean up. In 2016, former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government at the time spent thousands of dollars to build a fence around this grave, something that has even caused more damage to this facility or to this site. During the Sirleaf administration, there were plans to even relocate historic fountain.
Good evening, folks. Welcome to the show. I am Afonso Zian. So you are on the official news outlet of the Liberia Public Radio. Joining me now is Senior Analyst Koto Jalat Balayant from the Garden City of New Jersey. Madam, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Soul, and good evening to the people of Liberia and people all around the world that will be listening to this program. I'm so glad to be here, and I ask you guys to please share and join us in the conversation today.
Yeah, please do us a favor. Just hit the share button and then to invite someone at your company. And I'm going to be putting the number here. Usually Wednesday is All Things Consider. All Things Consider is meant to allow you to participate, to speak your mind on some of the things perhaps we in the talk show or the media business, and not necessarily things that we talk is in your favor, or there are some really major issues you want us to talk. We don't talk it because we are distracted with a lot of other things. So All Things Considered is on this network to give you the opportunity to be able to speak things for yourself. Okay, so let's get a conversation going. What is on your plate today? What is so concerning, perhaps?
Today is International Women's Day, and they recognize us.
International. I thought you forgot.
I'm blowing our horn.
Yeah, blowing your horn. International Women's Day. What does it mean to you?
It's very special to me. I know from time in memorial, like when I was growing up, women at the time were not, I like had in government. Not many were had in government offices or even high offices. Women were taken to be housewives. But I think the recognition of women have put women to the top today, and we can see we benefited from it, that we had a female president, that we can say was worldwide known, and today because of her, some of us got involved in politics, and we can be able today to speak on behalf of our people in Liberia. And I remember I was not one of those who were vocal, who were outspoken, but I think she served as some admiration for some of us, that today we can be in a public space to talk, to discuss the issue of Liberia. And, and one of the women that I always admire, to recognize when the day comes is Gloria Musu-Scott, who unfortunately today,
The former Chief Justice.
yes, former Chief Justice, and today she's having a sad moment, which I think we should, identify with her. to again say we are in sympathy with her with this situation she found herself in. And I know Dr. Evelyn Kanakai,
Yeah.
those are women, that I serve in my life, as my own admiration. And I thought, most time when day like this comes, I always recognize them because they have served as admiration for me. And and other women that I may not have called their name and had today, women that serve in your life or in the life of others, that we can recognize. And I think it's a good thing because I for some, like for me, I was told not to go to school because I was supposed to go and be a housewife.
Hmm.
Today, I don't know what I would have become of if I have not had the opportunity to be in the educational sector. Probably I may have been high in other level, but I want to say thanks, to the Almighty God to have given me the opportunity to at least have an education that can make me in the midst of other women, to discuss issues of Liberia and then international issues. So for me, it's a day that I actually thought that we recognize women, and I want to say it today in a special way. I want to say thanks to our women who have been there before, because I remember during the 1990 war, when people could not, come to some, let's say, conclusive, meetings and other activities that they were supposed to undertake to bring peace to Liberia, all hell was like loose and could not meet up with all of the deadlines or meetings at the time. It was the women those days, and I used to see even my mom was among the women, and sitting in on the Effie road there. We used to see them sitting in their white and thing, and they sat there and demanded peace. And their prayers today is what we are enjoying today. And I want to appreciate all women because I know those women were, some were not even business people, some were like maybe uh, business people, but they took their time. They used to sit there to pray for Liberia. Today we are enjoying their sweat. So I want to highly recognize them, even though Lima Bowie came and stole the show for the women, but because they could not have somebody, to represent them, to speak for them, she was there. But I want to appreciate her because sometimes it takes someone to take that stand to, speak on behalf of the group. And I want to appreciate her for that. I want to say thanks for Lima Bowie. She took that stand that not many women at the time could stand, to speak on behalf of the women, but she did that time. And the big one goes to my own, oh my, uh, our former president. And
Yes, absolutely.
she has to take that big cap because I want to say thank you. Because if you have not done or taken that stand today, women of Liberia would not have been where we are today. I want to say all goes to her. I former President Salif, she took the stand, and today we women have voices to discuss issues. Yeah, and
Well,
so for that,
yeah, I think that's a good and fair analysis, and we should be proud of our women, Liberian women across the world. Women are not more or less challengers. They always make way out of no way, even when the going gets tough. And we men can, well, women always have that courage. They always maneuver. They always go there. So you, putting aside the politics aspect of it, so you see her to be like a game changer. Uh, to see young people today standing or speaking. I want to be the Helen Johnson Sirleaf. I want to be the Lehman Bowie. I want to be so many of them who have involved in a lot of community international uh, different institutions and even society buildings. Do you think we have come, they are open up now, their involvement has created the opening for young people to get that sort of bravery to get involved into critical issue?
Well, I think so because I I don't know for now in Liberia because intimidation, a lot of intimidation we went through. But I think they are open huge door for women because the way we used to see women shout, not to take,
They're not taking
take
back seat
leadership
nowadays.
role, taking part into politics, or even being part of organization to take leadership role in organizations were kind of difficult. But you see today, we see a lot of women partaking. Like even for example, yesterday we saw the cheerleader for Yola, right? And
Right.
women are there in leadership.
They said the women are now sitting at the head table. They are involved in major decision making now.
So now and what people don't know is that if you have a woman involved in, especially in the home, for example, we see women, we take major role. If we are not, people are not praising, we will praise ourselves. You will see, even though men can be there to provide, but the woman is there playing the emotional and playing the motherly. And we become doctors, even sometimes we become nurses, sometimes we become teachers, and we become pastors, and every career will become those careers, in the life of our home. So the same in leadership, we tend to unite people. I know it's time people will say there are some, even though in every society you'll see some bad people, but I think women can pacify or kind of bring that humility in society that people can, flow along easily to make decision. Because sometimes they say that men can make decision, but sometimes women are there to press some issues in the mind of men. If men listen to women, it can become fruitful.
Right.
Because sometimes we think of the environment. Men sometimes say men move with sight, but women we move with the mind.
Oh
So
my. Wow. All right. Well, yeah, we must give this day to them, to all women, far and near. We say this is your day. We cheer you. I will support you. Uh, don't mind us. We do this crazy thing at the end of the day. We talk like a little baby. And some of you are very understandable, very, very bearable of everything. My grandpa say, "Woman, a woman, man is the man." But the society of today's society is changing the narrative. So women are involved in different skills, capacity building, technical as well. So that's sort of a concept. Just be in the kitchen, not not in the center we are. Nobody want to be in the kitchen. It reminded me of my old man say, I want to be in the America. Yeah. Man, that mean I was paramount chief. I ask for food and he said, go in the spot, go 10 microwave. You able to do that thing to me in Nigeria. But the world has changed. And so we have to get accustomed to what is happening in today's world. First, good evening, good morning, welcome. I'm Francis Z, and so this is All Things Considered. For those of you joining us, it's better late than never. The number is out there, 682-433-8802 to participate, to also get involved, because we are talking about Liberia. When we are talking about Liberia, all of us must have a say. Don't mind people what you say or your comment. You will be, how you call it, humiliated of your comment. It is your view, it is your opinion, the how you feel. And this is what we should be able to accommodate. And this is what even the politicians and other people do not accommodate. They always want to impose their way. They think they are the Mr. Right. They got it right. And so they don't listen to other sides. They don't listen to other people to see whether there are some great other pieces there that could add up and be applicable to the conversation or to the national discourse. But for us here, that's not the case. We accept it, and but we hold you accountable. Okay, let's have a conversation here. I believe just when you came, I was showing you the cemetery there. This is I'm gonna put it up. I'm not gonna something here. This here. I'm gonna be reaching out to Dennis Jar, actually the correspondent that did this. Center Street. We know Center Street, and I know the last time when they were still looking like that, nothing has changed. But why will no action clutter in your mind? Why will no action? Nobody is not doing anything about this. You see people today struggling on this date where they can remember their deceased. And they can't even get access to go to identify anything. And this is in the heart of the city. It's not in the village. It's not even, so the one in the village here is much better than what we have here in the city. So why nobody is taking action? Are they not saying it, or because all of their vehicle cars get tainted to windshield, so they don't look left, they don't look right when they are going through Center Street or Gallery Street, they don't look. What is going on? Why somebody can't do something about it? Why somebody is not speaking out?
Well, thank you, Mr. So I don't know whether it's the mentality about us Liberians or uh, I don't know, or is it war? But I think it's not decent because we are part of those that are unfortunate because I have my uncle grave there. Where we have my uncle grave is no longer, identified. We went there, it was like they dug the grave or and had another person buried over his grave. So it's very unfortunate because day like this is a day to remember, our fallen brothers and sisters, to go at least and identify them. And you see in other countries, like I saw in Ivory Coast, people respect their dead people, and you see their grave site. You go there, the grave site looked so decent, like a living environment. But again, it only shows the other part of us. You see, even our living place is not decent. So it reflects on the dead. Because if you know you have a decent, living, you would not want to see your dead, uh, actually treated that way. Because even when I saw my father grave this morning, it's like somebody, whether they were there playing or they cracking on, you can't just go and crack on other people, grave like that. It actually served like a disrespect, to my dad. And I really felt bad this morning when I saw it. The way, I don't know whether somebody did it intentionally or is wound or, but I don't think it's something that will be wound or like that. Somebody may have done something to it, but it's disrespect because even if, not because people are there, I mean that's the end of them. We should respect the dead also because they were once like us. But again, I think the former president Ellen Johnson tried to seal up that place, to avoid what is happening there. They had the place, I think, clean and then fence around. But again, when we have our brothers that made unfortunately, we call them what they call this the Zogos. I don't like to call that name, but again, that's the place that most of them live. We used to see them go and sleeping on the grave, and some even used to dig into the grave and sleep in the grave itself. So that had almost been like a habitat for them. So since it was fenced now, because they tried to avoid them living in the place, and that it caused another problem because again, nobody entering there to clean it like they used to do. So it led to what it is right now.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I believe I have a caller on the line here. Last number 1441. Caller, good evening.
Yeah, hey, Mr. So how you doing? My name is Ambrose, and I'm calling from Kentucky, Louisville.
Okay, Ambrose, good evening. Thank you so much for always being part of our regular follow-ups and participate. What are you considering this evening?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about that graveyard something. I wanted, it'll be a long time. I left from Liberia, but does the graveyard have an administrator?
Oh boy.
And secondly, the second point I wanted to raise, like what she just said, I think people too that have their dead ones over there to do the responsible thing. Maybe you don't have to wait for Memorial Day to go there. If you keep a close eye on your grave or your loved one, because I think what she said is true, a good day to circle. If your loved one is laying there and somebody else burying over them or stepping on top of them, I don't know for what reason. Because in America, the graveyard is managed by a private company or people that own the land manage it, that you can just bury there. So I was just wanting to know if they have an administrator that manage the central yard graveyard.
That's a very good question. And honestly, that's something we really need, we in the media industry, we need to follow through. And it just comes back to the point, some of the things that they might sound not too important, but it is. Look at that place there. It's in the heart of the city. Imagine things living from there and getting out there and people eat. If you watch the whole video, the guy, he did interviews on young folks that there, and some of them admit it. That's where they're staying. That's where they do everything. They go in there to sleep and get up, go out, and come back. Can you imagine? Yeah. And I want to believe it should be, I don't know whether it is a city corporations or who, but that's some information that I really have to double check. But I don't think it should even reach to this extent.
That normal day, or I don't know if I can call that normal day, sir. But certain time, at least you can go sit in the graveyard. But people who go in that graveyard regularly cleaning their graves there. So I know we have a day for decoration or memorial, but I think people too need to honor their loved one, maybe on their birthday, or if you're married and he died, maybe on your anniversary or something, you go there, because that's what people do in America. They don't want to wait for Memorial Day to go to the graveyard. The day they miss that person or some memorial days come in a lot, they go to that graveyard. And
you can't even access it. When you look at this thing here, why you really going to recognize? You can't even access anything. If you look at this thing here, you can't access anything. Where will you really go?
That's my God! So they got a foliage where grave is a type of grave.
Yeah, they just go like my uncle grave that was there. When we went there the last time that we went there, you couldn't even identify the place anymore. They put another grave over it, and the only thing that made me, that I could remember the place was because of the tree. That tree was there, so I remember the tree.
Look at this.
But the grave was, you see, people break into the grave, and live there. Some people were living in there, in the grave.
Okay, let's. I think this is the interview he had with this young man here. And this is why these are people that are. Let's pause here to Ambrose. If you can just hold on. Let's see here. Let's hear what they have to say.
What are you guys doing here? This is the grave site. What are you doing here?
Come to look for money. Because people come, not able to find a grave. We usually help them for them to find a grave. So
how long you been here since morning?
Since this morning from 7 o'clock been here up to now.
Okay, since you were here 7 o'clock according to you.
Yes.
How many persons saw coming here? This place was packed early this morning?
No, early this morning the place was not too packed.
All right.
Yes.
Why do you
Most
think it's
peop-
responsible for that?
Yes, because most people all the grave they are damaged.
All right.
Yeah, the grave are bust, and then most people take them bone and then carry it another place. Then family bones.
Oh, you saw that happening this morning,
This
right?
morning,
People
early
dug up
this-
the bones of their
I
loved
work
ones.
on one of the grave, and even the club is still on my hands.
All right.
And then the individual pay us in all red bag here and carry you and show you the grave in all really
All right.
reality I'm speaking. Yes. Because all the graves are damaged. We took the individual and then carrying him to a mortal grave and then saw it, the grave damaged, so dead all in the grave, part of mess. People defecate all into it. I decide to say, okay, they don't clean it. I'll take my mother bone and then I carry to the funeral home. Few times I'll find means to transfer it somewhere. I
Okay,
will
so
decide to clean it.
to you,
Yes.
who do you think is responsible? Who's responsible for all these lost graves?
Wow, for me, the citizen say that's the Sokos. So
Zogos.
for me, I'm not
Some of your friends, right?
Yeah, some of my friends. For me, I'm not all security. Yeah, for me to tell you that, but I believe that yes, indeed, that some of my friends they are part of it. The Sokos.
Those some of your friends sleep here.
Of course.
This place is their home.
Yes. They have a room here and then a bedroom.
Do you sleep here as well?
No, I don't sleep here. I live Clay Street, and then early morning I can come and then hustle on the street.
But you slept here before?
No, I never slept there before in my whole life. But I come to do a hustle. About me, I live home, but I can't hustle. But I'm a grown man. Yes, but I usually come.
Are you in the street?
Yes.
What is your name?
Call me Stephen Harris.
Stephen Harrison. What's your street name?
Call me Whiskey.
Oh, Whiskey.
Yes.
All right, the Nigerian superstar, Whiskey.
Of course.
So you've been cleaning graves this morning. Yes. According to you, not many persons came here to talk already.
Not many.
Because of the condition of the place.
Because of the condition. Majority of the grave is boss and even bossing, full up with deck, apart from deck, mess all into the grave. Yes, so mess all into the grave. People come and defecate. I think if you can see all here, so defecate, so toilet all into the grave. I think if you can see clearly, all here you see that, all baggy, all here, see that, all type of things, man, all baggy. So and the main things that are making you see most people not come here on this operation day. First preparing to be part or our ex-president, Madam Erin Sonjin Serif, she used to remark that people should come and take their bones from here and then relocate it somewhere. So most people come and then take their bones and this money, edit this way, what happened as well as example. People take that individual bones and then pack it in there, tie it, put it in plastic, and then carry it. I see most people not coming here. Go, majority of the grade, where you see boss, all are so good boss in. Yes, but some of you like see boss, people are boss.
Ambrose, are you still there?
And yeah, I listened to the interview. Yeah, go ahead.
This is how the problem in Liberia, it doesn't matter. From what I see, this is something we all have to really engage.
Yeah.
If I say we all leave this within the hands of the politician, it doesn't matter who is there now, who want to move. This is why we need to be focused and address every bit and pieces of anything. Let me bring in Dr. George Toto here. This is disturbing. Yeah, Ambrose, make a point, and I will return to my analyst.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with you. This is all Liberian problem, and we all need to address it. Going to be instead of criticizing or blaming one administration, but I think my only frustration is, I get is our people that live from here can learn all to be in all this system and go over there. They don't implement some of the system because I believe another grave, Sunday graveyard being an old graveyard, And by now, it should be having a limit and have an administrator,
Right.
to manage that grave. I think with that, it will going to help and it will minimize. And the Zoko, they need to try by all means to get the Zoko out of there and so they can respect the dead. We can't be abusing our dead people the way they abuse them. Looking at that video or watching that video, I think that's totally wrong.
Thank you so much.
That's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, Dr. Toto, good evening. Welcome to the program as usual. Thank you so much for all of you, your commitment. You know, after the end with you, you leave my classroom, then you come here and come meet another head pro bono work. We're not paying you. We don't have money. In fact, you guys the one that gave. And just to mention that, I want to be very grateful to all of our LPR. We are all a family now. One of our members mother passed, and everybody, people contributing. I want to say thank all of you, and those who can't even give for whatever reason. More time is still there. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you. And also, let me say greeting to Koto. Thank you also for the good work.
Look,
and recognize today that our Women Day.
Yeah, I will listen to you. Liberia is one of the countries that we have very productive women that really challenge the status quo. If you go back from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s, we have people that actually broke around us. Those of the women, and they kind of deal mostly in copper. They have Anita Johnson in the 80s. Martha Sandono Better. Those are the women that really challenge the status quo. Then in present day, we have people that you call to also too, people that live Mark Bowie, that bear voice. So our women are being there, in terms of strong advocacy, not just advocacy, but very strong advocacy. They are ready to change the status quo in Liberia. So there's a need for all to really recognize that and see the role that they are playing. They are playing Liberia, especially to where we are, the peace that we want today, that we all enjoy. We cannot divorce our women from that. When bullets were flying in Liberia, during the heat of our war, we could see on the street moving from place to place looking for food. The women, because the men were more targeted, especially the young men. Can I leave their home? When you see the women did a lot, for Liberia. So there's a deal to already celebrate, then already live up to a higher height in our society. So that means, say to my own sister, Koto, let me recognize you also to name our show. You also our women, like Toronto, OJ, and all those are women that can contribute to the growth of the network, to continue on to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I want to open part George come here, so nobody should argue with. She is the only lady in the house here.
Yeah.
Here today, we should put on our skin jacket. No firing. Okay, look. Of course.
But let me just talk a little bit about the issue of Center Street. Being switched. It's very disheartening. I saw the video where the guy was doing there today. The problem with Central Street, I went Liberia to just drive through that Central Street. You see all those boys there, they will disadvantage guy, the Liberia called the Soko.
That covers the whole
in that place. They cover the whole place, the insecurity in that place. But if you can recall, the problem of Central Street started in the late 80s. I can recall 1989, we went to do a burial on the Central Street. And you could see how that place was overcrowded. I don't know who really managed our gravesite in Liberia. That's a good question the court of asked. I think soon I would have found out who really managed the gravesite in Liberia, whether it fall on the government or a private institution that do that, the government institution, which ministry.
Let me see. I come and create a trouble this that my man. The Honorable Sir Joseph, good morning. I think I need to call the senator of the Moserado senator. He needs to call us. He need to call in here.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we do right now. I don't know if fall under the city government, whether the city government
corporation or
It's under the city corporation. They used to, actually the fort came from there. When the supposed stop to a burial there, they kept burying on the ground. They kept carrying on illegal burial there, so they kept burying over grave and grave. Because
and Central Street is very historical. Before that, we used to go to that place where we used to see some of the forefathers, that fought in Liberia, people that contributed to liberation. You see that grave to that place. Very historical. Some of our former leaders, former presidents, their grave were to that place. But today, I don't know what they gave me find a grave. So that's a very historical site. So I think governments will try to preserve that place, and make it that's another form of tourism. Preserve that place. That place had a historical grave. People go and see that. But we have so many challenges to deal that country. So many challenges.
It's unfortunately we are not getting the inch of this. Being distracted on a daily basis. All sort of crazy things that are going on. We are not even having a chance. Those who want to be president, those who want to be represented, those who want to be senators, and all of that, be it Moserado or other places, we are not having a chance.
Even at a graveside again, like Josephville era. That's another good thing, but Josephville getting all crowded again.
I'll have to contact these guys tomorrow. And I go a little bit much deeper because, like he rightfully said, the young man they were talking today, it started, and I know family members who went there. They're telling them to come and move. Okay, you are moving. What was there any place allocated by national government for then people who want to remove their deceased people, or you just taking and carry it? That's another question we don't know. So where are they carrying it? And I know a person who buried their immediate, they have to remove and end up taking the body as far as Grangie there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wondering whether people that are in Moserado, after that decision, whether it was a proclamation or whatever, how it came out, whether there was a designated place and they were giving them time to get that done.
Even the grave that I have or the Dubo Road Cemetery, where used to be a good area before too. Even my father was buried to Dubo Road, but I don't believe the graveyard a tradition. Our people came, they bought the grave, and took the body to that.
People.
My family people.
The Bon County people?
Yeah, or they took the bought the grave because we did not get it that wish. The bought the grave, took the body. Yeah, the bro. So all the things that's part of my tradition also too.
The problem, like bro, it's so complex. Man. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so all the things the tradition also follow too. All those stuff that they're coming to pass a grave.
Okay, so then this is where the politics aspect going to be inserted in this conversation to all the talk. All of these people who want to be president, who want to do this, are we having this conversation? And we're going to digress a little bit here. I'm wondering from that young gentleman that that guy did an interview with, and many of them that we know they are in the streets and other places across the entire country. I want to know what was the plan? Good chunk of money was invested into the Unity Party-led government.
Yeah.
What is the status of this? These disadvantaged people, rehabilitation, counseling. I see people here grabbing few things here and say they want to have the supporting people. Those are political pet projects. Yeah, not.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I wanted to speak on that rehabilitation issue.
Okay, 1 second. Yeah, they're not putting all a long-term sustainable thing. Instead, it's more or less individual. Few people here gather and they say they are supporting this person. What happens when the person is no longer a senator or a representative? Do you think he or she can sustain any rehabilitation? You know what it means to have a rehabilitation center? Do you think the international community or donors will look at individual initiative? For example, We had a Catherine Rebuild Rehabilitation Center. That was a government rehabilitation. What is the status of that commission? Is it still alive? Is it still existing? We need to know, because when we have that, then you're going to have a short-term and long-term program for these people. So it doesn't matter who will be elected president 2023. If the issue of this rehabilitation of these people, if they cannot be properly integrated into society to the extent that they can be able to fend for themselves, we will have this problem. You will have people snatching people's phone. You will have people slapping people. You will have people doing all sorts of things. You will have crimes at the highest level. So we need to know how far, where did this woman, how much were invested, how many persons were really demobilized? Were there any counseling, or they just like to water down a lot of things and get it going? And they think it's just going to go away with that? It doesn't matter who becomes president tomorrow. These challenges will be there. And if we can get a clear-cut agenda of what they represent and how they intend to address these issues, we will not get nowhere. Akoto, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. So. Because at the time of the rehabilitation, I was working with Norwegian Refugee Council. And I happened to be part of the rehabilitation project where we were paying those that were disarmed and transferred into the rehabilitation program. We had this place on the Cinco right side agriculture ministry there. There was a school there. Most of them were absorbed in there, and they were giving tickets, ID that they should use to go to whatever school they could go to. And one thing some of our people, misunderstanding was that this fund that came in for the rehabilitation did not come directly to the government. It came through organizations. Like for my organizations, we were supposed to pay the combatants that were disarmed and were going through rehabilitation. What the guys were doing, some of them that were giving the ID cards to go to school, they took the ID card and sold it to some people. You will notice that even some people that made use of that opportunity that were even going to LU or went to the rehabilitation program, they took these people's name and were using it to go to school. So the thing is, so I don't know whether people misunderstood the process, but that's what actually it was. What they should have benefited from, they took it and sold it to other people, and other people went and used the opportunity, those that wanted it. Because I know there were some people that actually bought it, and I knew them because we used to interview them, that they bought a ticket, but they were not rebels. But they used to tell us, oh my or sister, we're not rebel, but because we wanted to make use of the opportunity, we bought the ID or the ticket just for us to go to school. And some of these people were benefiting from it. So the immediate people that should have benefited, they did not make use of the opportunity.
Because that mean they didn't have a plan. There was no plan put in place, because if they had a strategic plan, it would have been directed to the right for people to be benefited. We won't have what we're having today.
Yeah, so even those that they gave some of them, those that were carpenter, they gave them toolboxes. Those were mechanic. I had one of them that was living with me. He was a mechanic. They gave him a mechanic toolbox. On a low, Emmanuel went and sold his mechanic toolbox to the garage. It was mechanic shop. Wow. And he didn't use the opportunity. The school they had, it was on they have Banners Road there. They had a school that some of them went there, mechanic, plumbing, and they gave them the tools to go, and advance in their career, but they did not use the opportunity. So again, the opportunity given, it was misused by those they were given to, and the fund did not directly go to the government.
Because the reason it was misused, because first of all, those who were facilitating it, they never had a plan. They didn't do their work. They didn't do their, I would say they didn't do their, in my view, because
I
really don't know how they managed, because many of those guys we interviewed, some were not, they bought the ID from the guys that were
the problem I have, I don't want to blame the individual. The government takes serious responsibility for this. Yeah, the early Johnson government, they didn't really have, they didn't really manage the process correctly. Even though the cash did not go to them directly, as you said, but they supervise the process. They have the various institution, but they didn't really implement the process. They left it alone, and nothing was done about it. They were supposed to empower the various institution, have a long-term goal set up, especially some of the school. Before the war in Liberia, we have on this school in the Matale area, LORC.
Yeah, it was LORC that actually benefited a lot.
LORC was a very good institution that produced a lot of good graduates today, and they are living to where they are, in terms of plumbing, electricity. So those are some of the institutions that government is supposed to see that they receive good funding and other build institutions. But like most of those foreign NGO, like the Norwegian, I'm not trying to pick on your NGO, but you see, most of those foreign NGO, when they come to the war-torn country, they try to seek their own benefit also too.
But that's what was happening. That's what I'm telling you. Because what we used to do, the reporting.
Yeah, so they don't care. So they don't care about they don't care about where the fund go directly. At the end of the day, they get their share. They say, you know what, they will that they're going to stay here. So, but the government will be the watchdog to make sure that these things go the right full place they need to go, but they just all relax, and this is where we are. Don't go proper.
All right, let me welcome Sissy. Sissy, good evening. Welcome.
How you doing, everybody?
Yeah, Sissy, welcome.
I'm not doing fine.
Your vice president dropped because he misspelled her name.
I saw that. I didn't know the laugh.
He's a troublemaker on this network. He's a troublemaker.
But let me say,
let's not reach your election commission yet. So hard.
Okay. So let me say happy Women's Day to my Uma Makoto. And she let me pay me attention. I give her credit. When talking about me, that she can pay attention to me. Happy Women's Day to my own mother, Makoto. You know, she's named after my mom, and the little daughter in my house is named after my mom. So I'm both her son and her father. But happy Women's Day to you and every strong Liberian woman that's come before you and that will come after you. And I'm thinking of the likes of Madame Swakoko, not the recent Swakoko, but the Swakoko who was the only female general in Asian Liberia who led an army. And so I'm thinking of the likes of my grandmother, who was a professor in the traditional school that we call the Sunday Society, where women used to go to learn how to be housewives and how to and learn everything about, home economics and everything. And so many mothers and so many women that have stood the test of time, women who brought peace to Liberia when men had lost their mind and they were fighting over and over for political power. So happy Women's Day to our strong Liberian women in the diaspora and back home.
All right, yeah, so we give this day. So there was a treaty signed in your absence since today is a Women's Day, and you really got to the point because trust me, you are just going to bring it out. So everybody this night, they say it's a night. There'll be a temporary unilateral ceasefire in terms of pushing back here. So you can't be there. Yeah, okay, guys. Good evening. Welcome. Look, Sister, we were discussing about this, the cemetery, central in the heart. I'm wondering, I've been sending a message, I'm waiting to get some sort of confirmation. I don't know who actually, on which autonomous agency of government or whatever, or be a ministry, that is it under the city corporation? I don't know.
I think that would be under the city charter, another city corporation, but I think it should also be there should be a part of the Ministry of Health.
Yeah.
That should be over that.
And a fair should have a responsibility too.
Yeah, and I also think in modern days the Environmental Protection Agency should also have some say in there. It is Center Street is despicable. for so many reasons. Number one, the disrespect for the dead. People who bury their loved ones in that place. You know, Mr. So, we Liberians, we honor our dead. Whether it's traditional or it's borrowed culture, we respect our dead. That is the reason, even in my culture and the Loma people culture, we feed the ghost. After certain days, we have feast and we put rice out because we understand that our ancestors, just because they're absent in this physical reality, doesn't mean they're absent from our lives. But when you go to Center Street, you find story buildings of, there you go. You find graves over graves that have been busted. You know, the lady who raised me, that everybody who ever known me in Monrovia knows is my mom. It's my stepmom. Her only son that she had biologically was killed, and parts were extracted from him, 2006, ritualistic killing. And she buried her son in Center Street. We could not find that grave for a while. Whenever it was time, imagine this lady, only son, only child, only son rather, she would go looking for this boy, and it would take hours to find that grave. We later on had to exhume the bones and take it somewhere else to rebury, just so we can know exactly where the body will be. There's been a lot of families that have removed their loved ones from Center Street. The next place that's getting worse off is Dupo Road Cemetery. Dupo Road used to be so, the cemetery used to be so open and relaxed. Now you get there, people are burying over other graves. And just like the land crisis in Liberia, where people will buy other people's land and people build in alleyways, I think it's the same thing happening with the graves. There hasn't been any really structure. And so when you have your family here and the grave is kind of deteriorating, somebody comes and bury over that body, and another person come and bury over that body, and you can't find your loved one. It is really sad. It is really, it traumatizes a lot of people. You know what it felt like trying to remove that kid bones? After so many years with mom getting closure, we had to exhume those bones and try to take them somewhere else and rebury them, reopening the wound to that woman's trauma. And there's so many other people that have done that. The Liberian authorities, we got to find a way to make sure this is an issue we resolve, because it creates a serious trauma for families.
I don't know. So I've been sending message here to see. I think that's something.
So John Maulo says it's under the VP office, and there's a line item in the budget. I don't know about it, but I think he's speaking because he's saying it. So he said there's a line item.
Yeah, I think I saw this comment here. Maulo, can you call us here? And I have to look through. I try to see and send message to my friend, the honorable side, just and not to just put in the spot, but at least to get an insight. So whatever agency of government, because these are things people need to.
So since let me ask you a question, that because you had experience of burying them. So when people want to bury their loved one, there that when the place was good, where people go to acquire the piece of land to bury their loved one, those where which agency?
So usually it's it's the city of Monrovia if you are burying in Center Street, and the Ministry of Health.
And the second is that part of
Center Street.
I know you had to go and pay some money to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you had to pay for the piece of.
So where that? So which agency or
who received them?
You had the money, because when the person is dead, you got all these agencies you have to go to and pay money here. Sometimes some people will just go through the funeral home and pay the money there, and the funeral home goes and takes care of all of those things on their behalf. You know what I'm saying? So you go to St. Moses or you go to Stryker, and they take care of all of those pieces. Like I remember, even right now, the next place that's becoming very popular for burial is in VOA, and not the VOA towards Kirisburg, but the VOA, this place VOA going towards Bowman County. Right. My wife's older brother was buried there Her mom was also buried there. And when we were watching things today, back when they first buried their mom and when we buried her brother there, it was a pretty benign grave, you know. But now I watched that today. There are so many graves around it, and so now people are building graves higher up, you know, so that they can be able to see their family graves from a distance when everybody buried around it, or making it in these, you know, really shiny colors with the tiles so that you can be able to notice it. But it's the city. Most times it's the city. Because if you want to bury in VOA, for example, you have to deal with the people in the town. You have to buy the lot from the people in the town. But if you're dealing with the city of Monrovia, you got to go through the city of Monrovia, and then it's through the health ministry has a part to play in there. Most time people just pay money through the mortuary, the mortuary agencies like St. Moses, Stryker, A.B. Anderson, and you pay through them, and they go, you know, and take care of most of those things.
Wow.
So they were talking about even the reallocation to relocate. Was there any place designated by national government? Okay, for those of you who have your families here, this is a place that we are designating to go. Or they just ask you come and take and then you carry whatever you want to carry. Was that the case, for example?
They didn't give us any space. We felt frustrated. My mom, you know, and today, my biological mom is dead. But my mom, the lady who actually raised me from when I was 1 year old, took me from the village in Slowo, brought me to Monrovia. The story was, you know, they said she had cement in her womb, but all she had was a cyst. She had a cyst, the fibroid, and she couldn't have kids. And like, our Loma people used to gossip about her, say the witchcraft in her womb. And she took me as her son. Even after she and my dad broke up, she still kept me as her son. In fact, she fought for custody, even though I was now a biological son with my dad. So when this lady lost her biological son and going to try to find this grave over and over, she got to walk sometimes, you know, 45 minutes, 1 hour looking for where the grave is at, jumping over other graves to find a grave. It just became so traumatic. Every time when we were coming to decoration day, I would worry for her. She had high blood pressure. She's had hypertension. She had stroke because of that. So we would be worried because the first thing to even find a grave in itself was traumatic for her, you know. So they had to remove the bones, and we had to go through City Hall, and we had to go through the health authorities because, you know, trying to remove bones is an issue of health to go and rebury. But I found out later on that she was not the only person that did that. A lot of families have been moving their loved ones on their own.
Oh yeah, I know a lot of people.
Even the guy that interview said, he said it.
Yeah, they've been moving their loved ones on their own. So the issue is our forefathers, well, the forefathers of the nation, because I know they weren't my forefathers, a whole different conversation. The forefathers of the nation that lay out Monrovia, they weren't too far-sighted. Who decides to have a grave on you call the street Central Street, so it's Central Monrovia. Why you have a graveyard in Central Monrovia? You know, so now that is posing a serious environmental risk because the groundwater in Monrovia through Central Street there's a lot of bodies buried right there. You know, just even the health. So I'm thinking the EPA and the Ministry of Health in conjunction with the Monrovia City Corporation really need to take a serious look at that. And if they're going to remove those bodies and have them buried somewhere else, it has to be a serious conversation with the families that have buried people over there, because you can't take this lightly. Just moving somebody's family's bones is really disrespectful, is really traumatic. You got to have a serious, focused conversation on how that transition is going to happen and where it's going to happen to. But the last time I checked, they didn't tell families where those bodies were going to be moved, where the remains were going to be moved, and how they were going to be removed. And so a lot of people who can afford, they're just removing their family members because they can afford it. Yeah, and if you can't afford it, then the Zogos break in. Sorry for using the disadvantaged Jews break into it, and they vandalize it.
Yeah, what happened was they tried to fence the place. As you can see, when you see from the up front, they fence it and build wire all around that place. But then the disadvantage, you still went and bust
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they didn't do the thing.
Yeah, so security.
That
They do. Okay,
security all used to be there. I don't know how they manage it. They allow the guys then to do that. But see, all
Security there for a very short time.
where all a high fence, but all has been broken down.
The problem is even the care of the facility.
That's
right. Until you get to decoration day, that place is bush.
Yeah.
Decoration day, people go and clean it up, and then after there is bush, so it attracts people who are homeless. You know,
the care alone, because one thing also looking at also too, you know, the way we do our burial, our system of burial in Liberia, I think it kind of take more space. Yeah, we take more space, and quite so our grade get more crowded. Look at Josephville Cemetery, or not a nice area, but look at Josephville now, it's overcrowded. So it like
Congotan Back Road.
Yeah, Congotan Back Road too. You know, all the places getting overcrowded. So our system of burial, I think we take so many space and put a big tomb. I think it's good, you know, but I think the agents that are responsible, I think this is the time that we have to really elevate the message up. You know,
we need to be asking you guys,
report. You know, who responsible for this and how can best change it. And not just change it, but the care. Look at Central Street in the heart of the city. You know, you get us. Please.
So Dr. Toto.
Yeah.
Is it fair to start asking you guys, folks that are also coming now, so that we can just pound a problem over problem to start telling us exactly where would they be? Is it not important?
Yeah, it's important. That's why we are discussing or discussing the issue. It's about we all have to tap in, you know, and see who's responsible to manage those areas.
But even the VOA that Sister was just talking about, it's a private owned place.
But that's what
used to have it. I think they were reserving space there. But now, like you say, the building up, it sounds strange to me because that was the way they were just preserving space, and then not only Hairstone used to be there.
Yeah, but no, now it's not only Hairstone. People are building mausoleums. Yeah. So the thing though is, I don't have a problem with if you can afford it and you want to, you know, honor your dead with building a mausoleum, but this thing has to be a private enterprise. I don't know who runs Center Street. I don't think it's private. I don't know.
Yeah.
But burial sites have to be they have to be private businesses. You can go and buy your land space, and maybe the city can zone it and say this is a burial ground. Yeah. Just like here, it is your business. So when you bury people dead, you have to take care of it.
And since I played in Broadway, they play where they bury our man language law in Broadway. It's on Cologne. Nice place.
Yep.
Green grass.
Yep. I know the guy from the US that actually own their property.
Okay.
So but the places like how do you call it, place like Duporo, I don't know if it's still private because you watch videos of Duporo Cemetery, it's people building upon, like, it's becoming stories. So I think what has to be done is people have to be made aware that this is a business. You privatize this business, and then people can choose. If you're not taking care of your cemetery, there can be ordinances where the city can find you, but then other people don't have to come to you. They go places where people are taking good care of their clients, because the dead are your clients. And if you're not taking good care of mine, good care of other people, dead body, dead that you have, remains that you have, I'm not going to come there. But this thing is quasi, where in some places it's local, is controlled by the government, and then like Cotto talk about in VOA is private, and where the Barry Nagbish law is also private. So I think all of these cities and these locales have to have zoning where we have certain places to have symmetry, because you can't just put symmetries everywhere. And I know in my own town in Lufak in Slow, people will bury their own dead sometimes in the living room, and they put a little thing away and become sitting place. You can't do that. So there has to be a way. I hope there is a law. Maybe we're not just following it in Liberia. If there is not, then all of these individual cities have to pass ordinances that are enforceable about how you bury people and how these people that bring businesses that are in the business of taking care of the dead actually make sure that they're respectfully taking care of the dead. Otherwise, they have to be fined. And if need be, government take over and auction to somebody else, another private entity.
Yeah,
But you know, to learn real quick, I don't think this is raising to a national consciousness level. And when I say that, I don't hear any political candidate talking about this, but these are very important things. There has to be a way where we talk about local government.
Including your candidate as well, right?
No, I'm saying none. Don't try to put me in firing squad. I'm saying no candidate has stuck in trouble today. That declaration day. Don't put me in trouble.
The thing is, we don't even know how to make money, because that could be a place where you know how many bodies there, and if people came, you know, at this time, especially at this time, people will come. Like you put a law every, you know, twice a year, people clean the place, and you have people. That would be a way of people, you know, creating job. See, so somebody will be there at the end of every month. You know, you have your person buried there. You gotta go and make contribution to make the place clean. That could create another job opportunity.
But they play the buried
You
number
don't
law.
have to wait till decoration day. You go and start cleaning up. You know.
They play the buried numbers law is more expensive than a lot of other places, and the reason is more expensive because the people hire grounds crew. They have their own employees who take care of the grounds and clean it. And so I want my family member to be respected even in their death. I'm going to pay the extra money because I know that place is going to be clean every time. And they're hiring local people that are the ground crew taking care of that. That's the business model.
Yeah, definitely. And then also just to add to what Cesar was saying about, I took issue with my lawmaker when I went to Liberia. The last one I visited about Hunta Totuta, and I was there that graves start taking over the town. People burying the town. You think that's so, and I work with the lawmaker on my brief to put us up to it. And then my own family people took issue with me because one of my uncle passed away because the total family because they feel that they own the town, so they won't be burying the town. You know, and one of them passed away. The people demand that I should be burying the town. And when I was insulting, and they reached out to me, I told them, said, "But people, look, why? Let me take the man in the bush or also to the cemetery and become an issue." And I think when it comes to the law, we don't have no law on the book to protect these things. If you go in the rural area, people bury all in the town. It's so bad in the rural area.
Right in the living room. They bury right in the living room, in the piazza.
Yeah, what about Oba or the former pastor for the Lutheran Church in Toronto, Pastor Wiki? The wife, the man passed away, the man buried right in front of her. The two sons died, they buried them right there. Then the wife living, how you want for the woman to live in peace? The woman wake up in the morning, she see her husband laying there, she see her two children laying there right before her. In the yard. How you expect her to live long? You know, so these are some of the things that, you know, like we were saying also, like really challenges are too much. I don't know how our country
your people are willing to have these
how our country structure.
What do we need to bring them on? Let me start with Koto. Koto, what do we need to bring your own people on?
In what sense?
How you call them? Political leader? Your political leader?
Listen, I'll ceasefire tonight again. Come here after Koto.
I just asking questions.
The VP, finna make a VP announcement.
When I read it, I break down on. You want to get my person on? I can make arrangement. He comes on.
Oh, when you read it,
you bring my uncle.
I can get my uncle to come.
Who, Joe Burka?
I said my uncle Yazoo.
I said Joe Burka. They said they better go bro and say happen to the beer.
So
I can buy my uncle. I can buy my uncle.
They saying that I was all be calling name when they're having who's gonna be the
okay. Yeah, anyone won't hear from me tomorrow. They're gonna be having meeting. I don't know whether it's going to be political presidency or vice presidency, but it's going to be on the issue of this what they call the survey, the census.
What do they want to say?
Yeah, they need to come together and make a statement towards the census and then also the occurrence of death, continuous occurrence of death in the country. It has raised some concern. So those are the two major issues that they will be discussing tomorrow. I hope it works.
So after discussion, what next?
That's why from something got to start something.
Because honestly, I'm sick and
But
tired.
as far as I'm concerned, that's the two things that I know that it will be.
These short press conferences, I'm just sick and tired with them. Go and speak.
So, I told you from the onset. I told you from the onset that this was the delay was because for my uncle, he wanted reconciliation, and the talking was going on.
Who? When he fighting?
Waka.
Who you reconciling with?
Whoever. I mean, there are many political parties, so they needed the reconciliation. We know from the onset we had this political marriage that was, that brought into this big separation or divorce, I they call it, and they needed to mend that,
the wedding that never had a bishop to give it to give the
so
woman.
the thing about it is sometimes marriages can be, people can come apart and they can reunite. We hope it works this time around, or if not, they still have other issues that they can reconcile on. It doesn't necessarily have to be vice president or president. They could have issue of common interest that they can discuss, and I think that's what they are.
Let's hear from the tier one folks here, gentlemen.
For me, I support Tiwa, as I said, but when it comes to the Vera SIA group, I disassociate myself from some of the SIA group for simple reason that I also said. But when it comes to the national level, I support him. Like Lebron can say, I know these people, but they don't know me. You know. But I support Tiwa wherever Tiwa come in the country. He will call me and say we can talk. You know, but in Liberia had no engagement with him. But I hope that when I go Liberia pretty soon, I will need him myself some engagement. But we can't do the Verosia group, what they have in meetings.
I don't think Sissy would be in. I don't think Sissy is
a
very viable, important committee on his thing. So I don't think Sissy.
Well, full disclosure, I serve on the Education and Youth Empowerment Committee. It's a joint committee of the Liberian People Party and all of the cells. Full disclosure, I also formally joined the Liberian People Party.
When?
About a week or so ago. And also,
and
I'm also
what BBT and then
I was joining LPP too because
so you acting like your uncle going check in. They didn't tell anything. Now after 1 week now before
no, but it's a process. I had to make sure everything was checked. I had to fill up the people form and everything and make sure I didn't want to do thing. I wanted to make sure we did it legit. And another full disclosure, Mr. So since you call on me, I'm also on the media publicity team of the Liberian People's Party. And I am plugged into meetings that are happening in Liberia at the party headquarters and here in the United States. But I will say this. I hope people watched the video that was shared both by Morba Malu and Councillor Gonglo of their meeting. There was an impromptu meeting at a shop, and Morba Malu, was saying that he respects Councillor Gonglo because Councillor Gonglo is one person, one candidate that's elevated the conversation. It's beyond pettiness, and Councillor Gonglo got him out of jail, even when Councillor Gonglo was not a member of the CDC because he believed in the rule of law. So what we're looking forward to is elevating this conversation, is getting out of the personal attacks and telling Liberian people how they will benefit. So to your point, I can guarantee you, I told you last time, very shortly, the councillor can walk and chew gum at the same time. We've been dealing with the issues of the murder of Councillor Gloria Mususka's daughter. We're dealing with the issues of all of the other things that are happening, and we're dealing with the issues of what's happening at the University of Liberia and Representative Akaros Grace saying he's going to go there on the 13th, and the propensity for violence that leads to. The councillor will definitely announce in the soonest possible time, because again, this is not a Boy Scout thing where you just go and I choose you, we're not playing keyboard where you choose, I choose you, I choose you, I choose you. No, you are picking somebody who is next in line of succession of the presidency. It has to be very, very categorical. It has to be very, very strategic, and the calculus have to carry itself through. So very soon you will hear on this network, I'll bring my guy on this network, and he will announce to you who his pick is.
Meaning the process is winding down, correct?
The process is winding down.
Yeah, I wanted to speak on this issue about the university.
Koto, tell me, this guy talking something serious.
You see, he would let a dig wound.
That my man. You know that one thing I love about him. He a bullet point guy. I don't know how long you really gonna stay, because the way you the way you quick to point your own people also, I don't know how long you're gonna stay, but I wish you the best of luck. What is the council you strategically placed in committees and other places? What is a council? What is its bias set? What is he looking for? What type of running mate is he considering in your mind?
Well, in my mind, and this is I'm gonna throw a caveat to that. It's not a conversation I've had with a counselor. But in my mind, looking at the counselor and having interacted with him, I think for the counselor, having somebody who can lead on day one is more important than having somebody that can get you to win. Because there are some candidates that can get you to win, but they're not qualified to run the country. Day one if something happened to you. And Councillor Gonglo has over and over said Liberia over everything. So he's not going to sacrifice the progress and growth of Liberia for the benefit of winning an election. So he's looking at the quality of candidates, of people, and see if something were to happen to him, who can step in. But beyond that, who can be a helpmeet? Who is, because the vice president ought to be the last person the president speaks to before going to bed, and the first person the president speaks to when he or she gets up. And so the council is very, very methodical about that. We're trying to find somebody that would be qualified and able to be president if, God forbid, anything were to happen, but that person council cannot be discounted. You know, we don't want to have a situation where we have a Madam Jua Howard Taylor situation where the president doesn't call on her, doesn't value her council and all that stuff. No, this has to be a partnership for the Liberian people. So the council is looking at that, and he said over and over, it's more about Liberia. If any one candidate can come to push the bounds and they can move Liberia forward, and they can espouse all of the things he espouses, he has no reason running. He would drop out of the race and go back and continue to defend human rights. And so at the end of the day, it's going to be about who can lead Liberia, not who can win Liberia. Because we've seen people in our recent history that have won elections that are incapable of leading the country. We're looking for people that can move our country forward.
Okay, before I go to Koto, Amos George, good evening, welcome. Does that mean the councillor has he reached that point when he's announcing, or has he reached a conclusion that he really doesn't see anybody who, you still have Cummings, you still have Ambassador Boyka? Is there still uncertainty in terms of those people? If he announces running mate now, would there be any possibility, any possible scenarios?
You may want Ambassador Boyka can be our VP or Cummings can be our VP candidate. Absolutely, everything is possible. We have the slate open. You know, if the head of the statement wants to be a VP to the councillor, we can have that discussion. If Honorable Cummings wants to be VP to the councillor, we can have that discussion. We are not shutting the door on anything. I think everything. Look, Councillor Gonglo has said over and over, in the interest of Liberia, the struggle must end. In the interest of the people, no one person should have their ego elevate them over everything else. If the councillor sits down with my uncle, the chief statesman, Honorable Joe Boyka, and have a discussion, and they have a meeting of the minds, there's nothing precluding the councillor from considering an offer from the Unity Party. And I don't think the councillor has said either that he's shutting the door on having a discussion with Honorable Alexander Cummings, who is a very smart and articulate and a businessman and a gift to Liberia, just like Ambassador Boyka. we are open, the council is open to sitting down with people, but you can't just get into a marriage without a meeting of the minds. I think the mistake that the CPP made is what everybody's trying to avoid. People got into marriages without having a meeting of the mind. The council is open to sitting down and talking with Alexander Cummings. By the way, Cummings is a very fine Liberian intellectual. Councillor, the ambassador, this is a man who has served Liberia for a very long time, public service, and he lived at the margins of society just to make sure he improves society. So we're not pushing any of those people aside. The councillor is just saying, look, if we have a conversation, have a meeting of the mind, we put Liberia first, we move forward. If putting Liberia first means Councillor Gongolo becomes a vice presidential candidate or becomes a presidential candidate, then that's what we move forward with. There is no one person more important than Liberia.
Wow, that's quite interesting. We're waiting to see that announcement. Koto, I just want to make sure and get a little bit.
You just wanted to dig in some wounds.
I don't mind.
So yeah, because after you, Amos Joy just texted me before coming on here. He get a breaking news from the ANC for us here too to tell us. So yes, I think you're going to be
the phone is 700K. I can't listen to the phone is 700K.
Yeah, I wanted to talk on the issue of the University of Liberia problem about grade, saying he going there with some group. The university from time immemorial has been like that, especially the soup. It has not been like political. They have always been focusing on issues. So now that they want to politicize it, I think that is wrong. I don't think especially the political party on a student campus should be, handled that way, even though I'm against any violence, like what had been happening in the past. But I really don't like for them to go that level to start even breaking people's car. But the accusation for what I saw that the guy said they beat on him, I really did not see that. The video was there. They only walked behind the car, and ran him out of the place. But to see knocking on him, like he precise that he even had to be admitted and what have you, I didn't see it going to that level. But I know this, the university campus-based political party has always been like that. Even to presidents, they have stood up against presidents and individuals that they target on issues. So for Grace saying, I don't want them to start politicizing it, because we know what it had led to. It led to the death of students on the campus there. So what they could be doing is to sit and discuss issues that that are giving a rise to the students attacking on people, but they should not politicize it. I think that's where I'm going. I think it's going wrong.
Okay, let's hear the news coming from the ANC corridor. One of the guys who is a strong ear eaters of the ANC. Amos Joy from Atlanta, Georgia. The play where Trump tried to get a couple of votes to put into the finishing line, and now the grand jury is being formed. Let's see it.
Anytime people put the last button on, you can apply all. You see, you put the last button on today again.
Yes, you're so gonna man.
Listen, I wear a t-shirt, a polo shirt. You want my chest to be all.
Anytime no, but no, when you loosen it, you can be at peace. When you pull that last button,
I mean, it's just a common t-shirt, so I gotta be a little bit neat. Hey, how you doing? Today was.
But George, I was just looking at the picture that we took some time ago in Atlanta. You and I remember the pictures.
Oh.
The time you were trying to remove Mema brakes.
You see that you can be car.
Okay.
Okay.
No, that one I between Mervin Cole and Mama Bree.
Continue the conversation. Continue.
Mervin Cole sent me a message there. I was surprised. He said, "Don't go." He said, that man there, just wait. One day I will come and I will tell the beef that between. Oh, I said, really? He said,
you say the saga that between Burman Bridge and Beavico, I just keep quiet. Beavico is my half brother, and Burman Bridge is my cousin.
You're causing the
No.
problem.
No.
That's all I just people can create a problem.
Cause a problem in Bogota.
From Salala district.
You see, watching it now. What a district was Salala district, Sanoye district.
No, the mama bring the total. They're from Salala district.
Oh, he won't go Sanoye. He won't go Sanoye.
Do I have
They were asking about ANC. Bring some thing here.
Answer that question. You're jelly. Let you be dancing around.
ANC. I would come to the ANC. But I went today was Declaration Day in Liberia, and there are 3 women in my life that I will remember: my mother, my biological mother, and my foster mother. My foster mother was the late Josiah Crenshaw Ramsey. She took me like a biological child.
I see why people need Amos Josh. Okay.
So she made a whole lot to me. Everything in my life was that woman. So I know they are resting in peace. Now, what Mr. So?
We asked him about ANC when you will announce your VP pick and what the plan you got for making sure the cemeteries there don't get overloaded.
Yes, the cemetery in Liberia is a major problem. I think if Mr. Kwame was to come to power, the government should assist everybody to relocate that cemetery, the bodies. Let it be relocated. So let government fund a national cemetery. People can have a private cemetery, but government should have a national cemetery where it be maintained by the city, or maybe they can privatize it. But Center Street, no. Center Street now just used to harbor criminals. Let me be honest. Center Street is just to harbor criminals. So if any central government come to power, they will relocate that cemetery and maybe assist those who cannot afford, assist the poor people to have their loved one remains transferred to that national cemetery. And maybe the city can build a park there or build some kind of something there, but that place now is no more cemetery because that place is not owned by government. Center Street.
It's not owned by government?
No, because people buy a plot there. They used to buy a plot. I remember.
So
my mother
Buy the plot from. Who is the
but government does have some sort of responsibility as well.
So the city don't really control. It's not only control of the city to say you got to go to the city. They got something to do with it, but they are not the one that people pay money to. No, they applaud their own private plot in that place. The people pay for it. So some people I don't know what people say guys applauded, but I remember where the Ole were buried. It was some ready they have to get portion of the plot you bought.
What year from what time from we talking so?
That time of 19, I think 80, 83, 84, 85.
Okay, that time people still have free space there.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Yeah, but right now everything going. So national government, Ellen King, they said they were trying to relocate that place, but I don't know how far they went with it.
They fenced
fence around. They put broken the thing. People go to break into the grave. You see people sleeping into the grave. That's in the street. So, I mean, just imagine someone go there to see from the grave open. I mean, the emotion that it brings to people. But hey, it is a country we find ourselves in. So right now, other family now we got a place in Broadville there. Broadville has a cemetery there.
It's getting packed. It's getting packed too.
It's getting packed. People went and bought. They had to go and bought a place there.
Yeah.
But formally again, but it's not controlled by the city. Now people sell those places to people. Now look at that place, the cemetery. Yeah. So I mean, actually, I think government should start a national discussion. Those graves that are intact, let it find a national cemetery. Our country is the only country that we are not planning anything straight in that country. I don't know the people. Look, Look at it. I don't know. The people who playing in that city, they didn't do nothing good. Nothing. Yeah, nothing.
The pioneers put a cemetery in Center Street, in the center of the city.
And imagine, some people use it well water.
Yep. That's what I'm talking about.
Those are the people who playing in the city. Center Street, those were considered outside area. You know, my grandma always to say, gray jackets in forest. It always end in the town. If you are there, everywhere they having gray yard, you see people living around that place. You know.
Yeah, but if you call the street Center Street, you're thinking it's in the center of something. I remember my late uncle, the late GRK, Yaga Koliba's father, because he bought a lot of property in Oro, used to say Cinco used to be bush. Nobody wanted to move to Cinco. Nobody wanted land in Cinco because it was all swamp, it was all bush. That 19th Street, 12th Street, 11th Street, nobody wanted to move there. The city was just up over there. I get that. But, you know, what was the thought process between, you know, about just putting a cemetery? The people didn't think that the city was going to expand. Even the thing with this whole Tubman Boulevard, you got a little small street, you're running in and out of the city, and everybody bought land right across there. There's no way to expand. People didn't think the city was going to get bigger. They weren't hoping the city would get bigger.
But since not even think about that. That place is a swamp. Complete swamp. Go and take a cemetery and put it in the swamp.
Okay.
So,
let's come to baseline.
So for me, I wanted to touch on the UL issue.
Okay.
Because
I think George was coming to this.
Yeah. So announcing about Kumi VP. Yeah, we're listening.
What was the last time? I think they said 3 quarter. We in 4th quarter now.
Yeah, man, that's trouble.
Would make his pick for VP announcement at the appropriate time, not on your time.
No, but the last time I said first quarter.
And they were going to say, ain't still thinking about your own too.
We said soon. We did not tell you first quarter. Don't do the how about you, Benny?
The day happened then that the first quarter.
Y'all let it CDC and how about you, Benny? Not how about you, Benny? You're the ones say do it first quarter. Y'all made it was a business meeting first quarter.
We said vetting. I think Mr. Comey will be in Atlanta on the 18th of March. So he still.
You coming by again?
He'll be in Atlanta, I think, the 18th of March.
You coming again?
Yeah, they may come to announce that. They may come to announce Amos George will take over the role that I don't call it Louis Brown was taking over.
No.
Where is Louis Brown now?
The man in the same apartment where they put Daniel Chair in.
All kinds of scammer in our country.
So,
that's your problem.
Mission accomplished.
They packed the men more than race car. They put it well.
It's not a task, it disappear.
Today, we know who carried that money. Today.
Mission accomplished.
They've got to run to the police, though. They can't do that.
Oh, when it comes to that one, they trust the police. When I they say they don't trust the police.
What Jonathan to that?
So mob justice? Is that what you want?
Nobody said mob justice. Okay. Wait, Pajo, wait.
What is your internal investigation? What is it? Internal investigation?
Mr. So, when this guy was turning himself in Sierra Leone at the border, there was an ANC pickup at the border filming this guy turn over to police. You can get that deeply involved in police operation, but you can do your own internal investigation and find out because the first thing you say, we know that 70K. Was it 70K? B, was it proper for this person to have this much money cash on him?
Well, the first defense line they put out that they have money, that now have money.
Yeah, the first thing that money, now have money. Then the next thing they came to internal investigation to find out.
Condemn that conversation.
What financial policies were carried out? Is this person supposed to have 70,000? First was it 70,000 because they keep saying we down not 70,000. I don't know how much was the amount. Was it okay for this person to have had that money? And who were the people in close proximity to the money? That's the internal investigation. We ain't say I'm going to go arrest anybody, but you ain't want to do that one.
Yeah, but I'm not telling
George, you made a commitment here.
You do the what? You coming to the what about? You coming to the what?
You want to put
you steal money from all year. We even get 700,000. Against them, huh?
Someone want to overthrow the government in your party. They won't go. Can't speak about that.
We tell it to government. I want a government issue.
Oh no, 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 issue.
Right, Mr. George.
Mr. George, that one the same thing. That one the same. You can't elephant. You can't eat it. You can't kill elephant eat dry rat.
They say you brought it in outside. You say you want to kind of scratch my back.
But that's the fact. Those two things not the same. Those two things not the same. One of them is a theft, and the other one is somebody blowing hot air. Those are two different things. The theft issue. Wait now.
Wait. Asking someone to overthrow it.
Again, here's the thing. Overthrow of a government, if somebody says something, chances are the security apparatus look at it and say it was nonsense. Your case is not. Right. Your case, you reported theft. You even went to the border to bring the president.
Where is the statement from your leader?
You can try all I want nowhere. That is it.
Okay, hold on. We will soon be wrapping up.
You're the one, Mr. Josh. You're the one brought the sin to us. You said the man Mr. Clean Hand. We tell us our man Mr. Clean Hand. You're the one brought the clean hand to all. Yesterday, man, Jesus Christ. Now that Jesus Christ came. You're the one to all. Yesterday, the man, clean hand.
Amos George.
All the people are eating with. All the people are eating with.
Hold on 1 second, guys. Hold on 1 second. Mr. George.
Yeah.
I remember you made a commitment yet. After 2 weeks, if we wasn't going to hear, we're going to hear from you. Are we hearing from you tonight?
About what now?
The same money business. You front on here.
What you want me to tell you? The case is with the police.
All of them went away. All of them went away.
The case is with the police.
They clean hand, they eat with dead hand people in the same boat.
I can't do nothing beside that. Except if that way, okay, you want to go. That's fine, but I can't do nothing. Once the case is with the police, you can't do anything.
What you mean internal investigation about financial policies and processes? You would not even do that?
Well, that I have not seen that, but I think it's something need to be done.
Okay. Where you going to start on?
The question that you asked me is something need to be done. But Tehran Congo has done any internal investigation. Why that they made a statement?
Yeah, we are.
Guys,
so you know how you born from CDC, I can do the same talk.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you. Hold on 1 second.
You're the same Congress and not alternative. You're the same Congress. You must start calling yourself alternative.
Let me ask you a question here. Is your party or do they have a paid staff? LPP, do they have staff on salary? They're paying people?
Well, the party machinery has a leadership structure. You have an elected chairman of the party and going down. As far as whether they're getting paid, I don't think there is money to pay people, but there are stipends that people get, and the work is largely voluntary. Just like most political parties, the work is largely voluntary.
They have staffers that they do pay, though. Most political parties, they have.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but the staffers that get paid most times is stipends. Even most political parties give you stipends. It is not salary. There are very few people that are in salary position, like the campaign manager. If you bring them from outside, you bring outside consultants. Yeah. But most people.
Do you know that about your campaign manager from your party?
Who, me?
Do you know anything of whether your campaign manager is on salary?
But that would be a human resource situation. It would be very benign of me to come sit on the platform to discuss an HR situation with somebody. That would be violating other people's privacy. I can't have that discussion.
Privacy?
Yeah, you right now, Mr. So even in your company, you sign a contract where you can't tell the how much money you may pay out. You sign that paper.
And you can't disclose with anybody.
So why would I want to disclose?
You want to know? I can tell you right now.
Yeah, I know, but you're not supposed to. That's why your company tells you.
I didn't sign it.
You didn't sign it?
No. Welcome to the web that you
signed. Your party have people on salary? Do you know?
I don't know.
Wow.
It won't be lied to you?
No, I'm just asking.
So all you gotta do is look at the financial disclosure form, because every political party in Liberia is supposed to file a financial disclosure form. On that financial disclosure form, you list all of your income, all of the revenues, and all of the expenses. And I'm thinking salaries and everything will be on the expenses. So all you got to do is just get that. Once the financial disclosure forms are filed, you get access to it. We'll show you everything.
Can you direct me where I can go?
The NEC post a time frame when those are they are not time for them to be fired yet. So once they get fired, you get access to them. They're with NEC. They usually get fired with NEC. It is a law in Liberia that they have to fire them.
Yeah, that's a law. They had to do the financial disclosure form.
Yeah. So,
we hope we'll see that.
Yeah, because I can't tell you that
because
they pay the secretary and I don't know the man's salary. I can't tell they pay the party chairman when I don't know the salary. So I can tell you that because I don't know. If I say the paying, then the next question, how much they're making, and I say I don't know.
Okay, Koto is about to tell us about it.
Just for a land quick, truly, people-centered campaign, grassroots campaigns, usually don't spend a lot of money on overheads. And overheads are those salaries that go to the chairman of the party, the campaign managers, other pieces. Because what you end up doing is you end up getting a boost from the grassroots, and people rise and say, we'll take this position, we'll do it for free. This is our contribution to our nation. So you start to look at those financial disclosure forms, the political parties are spending more money on salaries, usually are not people-centered. They're not grassroots-oriented organizations. The parties that are not, if you remember, CDC back in the day, they used to spend money on T-shirts. People will buy their own T-shirts and print jobs we are on them. That's how you look at a grassroots, people-centered political organization rising up. So when those things are fired, look at it. The ones that spend more money on the top on salaries are not grassroots-oriented organizations. And the Liberian People Party has always been in the vanguard of a grassroots, people-centered organization. I guarantee you, when we file our financial disclosure, you're not going to see a lot of money going to pay salaries for people to live in air conditions in Monrovia. You're going to see a lot of money going to how do we get to people door to door to get those campaigns going for people to see that they have a right to vote. And there was a change, agent on the ballot in the name of Tewan Gonglo.
Okay. I think we need, in the interest of fairness and transparency, we need to have this conversation. But Koto says she wanted to tell us those are on salary with the old man.
I have no idea about people being on salary.
Hey, man, I'm bad, man, I swear.
I can recall the
I have no idea about that. I think you need to ask him, but I have no idea.
Okay, you say you're going to bring him? Okay.
Yeah, but I don't discuss things like that. I think that his personal issue, which he wants to pay. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't know. I have no idea.
I want a party issue, not a personal issue.
Well, that's what it is. But I'm not on a party team, so.
Okay, before we go here, this picture here, I read very brief of it, and this news headline today from my front page. This is coming from, if nobody kills Koji now, you will be killing. I'm wondering, why will Front Page Africa grab something from somebody and just put it out there? Why would they do that?
Did you see the one that posted for tomorrow, which is about Jerome Verdier, whether he has a lying tongue or stuff? What does journalism come down to in Liberia? This headline came directly out of the learned doctor, counselor, my uncle, the Kissy man, Johnson. Because when Arthur Johnson spoke about Terry Genesis and Henry Costa, it's exactly what they took.
Just go take that.
The funny thing, I saw Daily Observer carrying a headline today about the ECOWAS ambassador feeling that there's a threat on his life because Arthur Johnson referred to a Facebook post where somebody said the only way that ECOWAS would take concern is when Jefferson Koji killed the ECOWAS ambassador. And somehow Arthur Johnson flipped that to mean that there is a threat on the ambassador, and the ambassador took that. The buffoonery is just is regional. It's not just Liberia. How in God's earth would you, the ambassador of ECOWAS, not look at that? Somebody is saying things are getting bad. Things are getting way bad. There is no
ambassador that wrong. Says it.
Eh?
The ambassador was not wrong for taking.
Let me finish. So you must say here. You must say in this house here. I said things are so bad. Literally, don't clean the place here. Literally, can't see the player. Maybe one day we'll have to kind of see snake in the hole here from all the riding out here before somebody will clean the place. That's why I said, oh, Mr. Koya said snake in the hole.
No. Say that. They on this snake buy somebody.
On this snake buy somebody before somebody clean it. Then you go around and say, oh, so they say snake will buy somebody here. That is how the ambassador talked there. Arthur Johnson in his comical, expression, try to link that. I get it. You got to work for his money. But for the ambassador of ECOWAS that have access to lawyers and smart thinkers, he didn't sit there to think through that. Right after Arthur Johnson, and he said, "You think his levels are rich?"
That's a lady.
That was not a direct threat to his life. That was an analogy. Somebody was making an analogy, right? And say, if this thing keep happening, this will happen. Nobody was threatening his life. You might not thought I can tell that, bro.
Yeah, Dr. Toto.
I say that I don't see problem with the ambassador.
Let's do it one at a time, guys. What is it?
Ambassador, what put out, and the ambassador did the right thing to report it to the justice ministry. For them to look, the case. I don't see problem with statement at all. Because people should start making serious statement in there, expecting the totality.
People should be held accountable. It's also equivalent. Like you tweet here, there will be a shooting there. There will be a shooting there. It doesn't suggest that there will be a shooting, but that's another form of inciting people to carry out some sort of violent attitude.
That is free speech is protected. If I even tweeted that, I will be protected.
The statement, the gentleman made a statement saying that in the light of the killing in Liberia, what is going on?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was not a threat.
It's not talking.
That was not a threat.
Yeah, that was not a threat. He said, but when it happened to her, then they will know.
Yes.
That was not a threat. That's a free speech. He was just doing an
That was somebody saying, somebody looking at progression of things and said, this is happening, A has happened, B has happened, nothing, C has happened, nothing. Will it take D to happen before something can happen? And that's why I said, somebody said, that's happened.
Yeah. If no one killed Koji, no, he will keep killing innocent people while the CDC police covering up. So where is he gathering this that is Koji?
So if somebody like Terry Genesis, with all due respect to Terry Genesis, makes a statement on his Facebook page and that become a national issue. Hold on. Let's go to Jefferson Koji. If we want to be fair, Jefferson Koji one time said, "We'll meet people in blood and flesh." Yes. When was that a national issue? Did we raise that a national security issue? Was that a national security issue? No, sometimes we get too quick to get in our feelings, right? How many times have the CDC not declared war and so many different things? For somebody to say, "Oh,
should we consistently be having this sort of partying? This one do it, we will do our own." Is that how?
It's not about party. This is not even party. Ambassador Terry Genesis was not even speaking as on behalf of any party. This is a low-level Liberian. Just because the man attached ambassador to any, what a position Terry Genesis got in any political party. So tomorrow, when my old man are sitting down with us, bringing her to my flat, 245, Jefferson that road, 245. So we'll go grab her two and say we can't out of jail because she called Jefferson road. Yo, come on, man.
These are free, and we have to learn the boundary between free speech and that of a threat. And like we want to play a double standard here.
Free speech come with a responsibility, George.
No. There's nothing that comes along with that doesn't have a responsibility. But what we're doing a minute, we want to play double standard. When it happens to certain people, then we want to say, "Oh, these people's life have been threatened with treating in this way." How many times Jefferson Boy had not made that kind of statement?
Even if he did it with people who he accountable.
Said that, listen, Mobile Molo, Honor Marines said that they were going to make the country ungovernable for Madam Salif. What were the outcry for that?
No, listen. In as much, there was a consequences, but there was a conversation. We cannot underestimate people making this
regular. It did not tell the ambassador.
What I'm saying here, it doesn't matter the levels of action against this individual, but we must also understand people making statement, and yes, we get free speech, so you just come and say any loose thing and say anything.
It's not loose,
that also help
incite
other people to do crazy thing out there.
Mr. Also George, that thing I do consider.
When Local Doobie said, you will never know until the men, the black coat show at your door. It was the scene that you know seeing. They were killing going on South Africa. People, the white people, many of them, they didn't look at it. And what he was saying, you will never know until someone stand at your door. The men, the black. So what that young man said was the killing that are going on like Liberia. It's not being solved. The people in the sub-region, none of them talking. But the day it happened, until it happened to them, that was not a threat. That's
George,
no form, no shape of threat.
Hey George, we don't have a solid democracy in Liberia.
He's saying,
come on,
we
man.
still have a fragile.
Besides that, Mr. Dr. Koji, Dr. Toto, he's saying when no one kills Koji, what is he trying to say?
So you got to go back and look at Front Page Africa took a part of the comment. There is a whole different thing.
It's crazy for Front Page to even look at this kind of thing.
So here's the thing. Let's be very fair.
Responsible of his own saying.
Let's be very fair here tonight.
Why would they put this here?
I can understand why Arthur Johnson, with all of his foolery, can draw that line, because he's a lawyer and he's trying to find a way to say people don't like Koji. That's why they're accusing Koji of masterminding the killing of the daughter of the former Chief Justice. I get that. Lawyers are supposed to be able to draw that line all the way until you can't find a line. Where I find despicable and really stupid, and I would say that, let the ambassador go say I call him stupid, is the ECOWAS.
That's a little.
No, yeah, but stupidity is not. It's gender neutral. Let the ambassador say I call stupid.
Is that the same woman you were giving it up today, Women Day?
Yeah, then I want to do that. Because if you can sit down and you allow a clown like Arthur Johnson to spoon feed you. Dr. Arthur Johnson, to spoon feed you. That is the problem. The thing is you represent the sub-region. You are the ECOWAS ambassador. You should have access to smarter people that can sit down and look at an issue, because the ECOWAS ambassador talking about the left is threatened is more, it carries more weight. So you ought to be very careful before you come up with those kind of things. That you sit down and look at it, that you have your group sit down and look at it. Because somebody say, because we get trash here, I keep putting the trash every day. One day snail will burst somebody's here, then you go say, oh, the man still snail will burst people's here, and this snail will burst people's here. What kind of buffoonery is that?
He had consultation with his staff.
If he had consultation with people, all the posts will be fired. Then the one people having consultation with that people that went to the same law school, the same PhD school that Arthur Johnson, because that don't make no sense.
It doesn't make no sense.
So let her go tell people, say, I call stupid, let her go sue me too. That is
she wanted to meet George Weah. She wanted to meet the president, I think. So she got to make some publicity.
Who wants to meet the president?
The ECOWAS ambassador, maybe she wanted to meet George Weah in person, so she got to meet
you gotta get the ambassador point.
It's sad though.
What is the ambassador point? What is the ambassador point?
No, I just told you, Liberia is in a fragile state. You should accept it.
So the ambassador should have said the ambassador is not in a fragile state. The ambassador can be flown or anytime in Liberia. The ambassador made this about her.
No. I think it's unfair to say that she or he can be flown anytime.
Because ECOWAS ambassador, don't they leave every time?
Of course, it can happen, but before then, anything can happen before you.
There has been how many times? All of the water going on. Mr. So, let's be fair now. All the water going on. How many times any ECOWAS ambassador came close to any front line, how many close to the play would then be uplifted? If the ambassador came to Liberia to defend Liberia fragile democracy, the ambassador made this threat about her. She didn't say that this threat threatens Liberia democracy. She says the threat against me.
She happened to
was about her.
But yeah,
so if you're telling me Liberia's democracy is fragile, then the ambassador should have said this threatens Liberia's democracy, not about me, but she made it about her.
Yeah.
It's
And the whole
supposed
thing
to
was
have life is involved.
My man,
They-
leave that
they-
thing, man.
Mr.
So tomorrow, so go to
Mr.
any kind of shot.
Her
They be
life
flying
was not
class. I was
threatened.
trying to see about I'll be involved too.
Mr. So this
No,
woman's
this
life
is
was
more
not
of-
threatened.
What?
I think she wants to get some publicity. Her life was not threatened.
Well, what about publicity? She already.
She knows.
Publicity from home.
What is this thing that threatened her life? Every time you hear people say the money to ECOWAS, the money to ECOWAS.
But I don't care for the motive. One thing I know is ECOWAS is moot under George Weah administration.
Yes.
Every time they see ECOWAS court have fun against George Weah administration, refuse to take action. So who worry about what ECOWAS ambassador say? My biggest concern I wanted to talk about, but we got into this ECOWAS stuff.
No, go ahead.
Is the issue of
5 more minutes to go.
Is the issue of UL? I think Koto started that conversation. The University of Liberia is supposed to be the consciousness, the intellectual consciousness center of Liberia. People that attend that university or that work at that university ought to be able to have thick skin for tolerance and variations in political speak, in political ideology, and in mindset. We have to stop this thing where the University of Liberia tries to make it look like it belongs to a certain group of people only. They did that at one point in time to Solizo, and people laugh with it. I criticize that. They did that quite recently to how to call it, Serena Cephas. People laugh at that. I criticize it. They did it recently yesterday to Aloysius. It was wrong. It is wrong today. It was wrong yesterday. It's wrong forever. People show up on the University of Liberia campus. If you don't believe what they got to say makes sense or it aligns with your ideology, you don't have to go listen to them. You don't have to. No. But you are stopping people from coming on the university campus because you say that they have stolen from the Republic of Liberia, that they have carried out malfeasance against the Republic of Liberia. Yet you are there setting honor professors who have accepted bribes from you to give grace to other people. But you don't chase those professors out of the University of Liberia campus. I think it's wrong. It is very despicable. You have to have it. Universities have to be places where people allow the free exchange and the free interaction and combating of ideologies and intellectual exchanges. You cannot stop one group of people from showing up. If you think these people are criminals and they are thieves, you sue them or you push the lawmakers and the government to prosecute them. You cannot stop people from coming to the University of Liberia campus. It is wrong. It is wrong. It is not intellectual. But here's one thing I'll get to say. And I hope my brother Akaras Gray is watching. I was representing Akaras Gray. Just because something is your right to do doesn't mean it's right to do it. It is your right to take Representative Desing Sibo and other people to go to the University of Liberia campus. It is your absolute right. What I would plead to you as a leader in Liberia is to understand the friction already. What would be the expected outcome of that? Would it be violence? If you don't do that, nobody sees you as being less of a man. Nobody sees you as being less of a representative. Sometimes taking the peaceful road means that you have to sometimes reduce yourself. But I will beg the representative to now go to the UL campus under these circumstances right now. Find a way where the University of Liberia leadership can have a conversation for people to be able to go on that campus and have a discussion where if you don't want to hear me, don't come. But I think Akaras Gray is within his right to go to LU campus. Is within the right of Dixon Sibo to go to LU campus. But I would just say, just because it's your right, please think about it if it is the right thing for Liberia right now for you to do.
So then this seems to me, it comes back to the point of people assertions, what they think is right in their own world from what is coming from in the public. That's how they make these sort of crazy and act crazily with all what is going on today. It comes back to this. Yeah, not Daily Observer front page is such a reputable institution to just grab something like that and just throw it out there. It goes out there. Now, when something like that, when it gets in the media war, it's beyond your control. It's already played out there. It's like somebody say, I'm going to do this. So this is what we're talking about.
But Mr. So, you ought to know better. You know, you got anything they call yellow journalism, sensational headlines to make money.
Exactly. That's what I was about to talk about.
You know, Mr. So if you go to read that paper, you go deep down, you just that paper one side. But I had I was just what to make money sometimes. But I wanted to ask what Mr. said. And this thing, sometimes I want to blame sometimes the faculty of the University of Liberia. And secondly, people that's a public university. It's fully funded by government. So they should bear in mind that everybody has a right to that campus. Once you are not going there to cause trouble, everybody has a right to that campus. You can disagree with someone, fine. As I said, you disagree with the person, you don't have to listen to the lecture. You go do your business, go somewhere else. But you cannot be in the mood to prevent people from entering a public institution that is fully sponsored by government. You cannot do that. It's just absolutely wrong. And I think it's not time that the faculty of the university should come down with a policy to these students. If you disagree with someone in the lecture,
the sour group then too.
Walk away from that. You don't have to listen to them, but you have no right to attack them. You have no right to prevent them from coming on campus. They have not committed any crime. Anything is a mere allegation. It has not gone to court. So I think that the faculty of the university must come down with some of the policy. Tell these students, this is a fully funded public institution. Everybody allowed to come on this campus. If someone comes to the air of you disagree with them, you don't have to listen to them. Go do something else. But you cannot say people should not come on the campus, and the faculty of the university continue to remain silent on the issue. I think it is not time to put the foot down to make these students understand that you're not paying a dime to come to this place here. It's government-funded institution. So what right you have to stop somebody from coming here? You don't have that right. Or you can say, I don't want to listen
do
to
this crazy thing. Even in the country, you know that they can deny, some universities, colleges, they can deny you entrance of these stuff.
That is not even recently. That has been in time immemorial.
But Mr. So,
I agree, and this is simple.
When these things, when people are stopped in America, is because sometimes it's the university authority, not the students, and they're saying that if you come in here to talk about white supremacy, which is a federal crime, which is, so we're not going to allow you here to come and talk about how you're supreme to other people. They stop those things. But it's not the students chasing other people around saying,
sometimes the student can disagree with somebody's ideology.
You can
no, they do. They do. You can't say no. They do agree. They do disagree.
You can disagree, but I think
disagree, but you don't have to go there.
Exactly. That's the point for me. That's the violent part I don't like. But they can disagree.
I think also the point I want to add on the security aspect. I think our candidates in Liberia, they are growing, especially the LUs of set of intellectual. I think this is the time that LU have their own police system. Now we have other schools in America here, university police system.
Have security.
Not just security, a real police system. That will take over. But they have security. They just have gate security. They get in.
Not just people who sit down to gate and lock out to go to
a real structure.
Private
police system. Now we see other schools here. My neighbor college that are
okay.
They get our own police system. So I try to implement that in terms of security because it's getting too much now. Because it happened to other people today, will happen to someone tomorrow to go like to one.
So I think what is really happening here? It's been ongoing long time.
Yeah.
Babaladin was all booted out from during those time. And I see very LU campus. But what happens now? It looks like the power of these groups who call political party now is being transported or being passed on to this students group. To see more or less to be the vanguard group who can go beyond now to do the work of these political parties. And you can see, it's what is playing out right now. But that has to stop. You need to understand that it's a nation higher institution. So the behavior now is just if the very opposition today, if they can't put their foot down, if they get there tomorrow, this thing alligator will come by and bite them. And it will be too late.
Well,
because
why does it have to be even the opposition problem? This is a state-run institution.
I'm saying because most of these things here is, of course, it is an opposition, both opposition, government, the politics is the national scene now, more or less.
I disagree with you on that, Mr. So, what can the opposition political party do to LU to stop what happening? What can they do?
What? Say it again.
What can, for example, let me put my party. What can LPP do?
They should speak out against those.
Yeah, but that's not. Everybody's speaking against it. That's what we're doing. We're speaking against it. But you say we got to do more.
What
more can we do?
We're talking about your leader then.
I am a leader in the LPP. I'm speaking against it. So what more can we do?
I'm talking about you're not seeking state power. I'm talking about
your people are running for office matter. You see, the problem. There's people that say, Flora Mususka daughter. Why would I put that? We didn't do nothing. Everybody important, but now I kind of speak say another important. I put running for power. Is here.
Tomorrow they will have state power. You will come here to defend that again. So we got to do
the problem is authority.
The government should bear students in our own university.
I think probably what happens the total it might well come back because it's just out of control now. It is out of control because
when I was going to school,
the thing that they are like they are people in their own world.
But what is happening?
And don't come on this campus here.
What is happening is the LU look like the Vatican. It's a nation within a nation. You know how the Vatican embassy is a country by itself? That's how they're making it like LU is a whole different system in Liberia.
But Mr. Soul trying to add that he know what political issue are.
The Pope is a leader in the Vatican, but the president of the university cannot do nothing. So the Vatican is ruled by the Pope.
There's student politics as well.
There's many existing from time to time. It started even when it taught Maha. We used to have Uhuru and Ujamati. It migrated from that come to University of Liberia. And it just been going from time immemorial. It's not a strange thing.
It cannot continue like this. When something's going
student
down,
movement.
Everything is militarized in Liberia. Everything. The Vanguard student university, the Comrade militants. All these things.
Our community had the military. When I was going to school in Nigeria, it's the same thing on Nigerian University campus. They see the military way of school politics. Just everywhere. And the government people they didn't really do much about it too. Politician goes on campus, Nigerian student was school, especially the baby school. They don't even put their food there to go there to talk about government issue of politics.
The problem is liberation. Liberation started from universities in a lot of African countries.
Yeah.
But we have not transitioned from that. And that is the problem. We're still stuck in there like we're still in colonial times. And that's the problem. But real quick, before we leave, I got to drop a breaking news on this show. Brooklyn Park is having a special election for a vacated council seat, city council seat in the West District. And you all know here, I told you, Mr. So, I was running a campaign for a lady who had that seat to become state senator. She won her election. Now her seat is vacant. I after much thinking about people calling me and asking me, I am now officially the campaign manager for Reverend Daniel Goba, a Liberian pastor who's running for that seat.
I thought you were going to tell me that I want to run for that seat.
No, and I'm running. That thing. I will be governor.
Breaking news I wanted to hear.
And the breaking news, because I will bring my candidate out here. But no, this is very serious.
No, what's this? Not like the other people. Anyhow, it must be me. If it can't be me, nobody.
No. And we got to bring other people to the forefront. The West District is a majority Liberian district. We're trying to make sure that seat get occupied by a smart, intelligent Liberian clergyman. And so I will bring him to this platform. I will take him to all the other platforms to grill him. But we need everybody to get hands on deck. I'm running the campaign. I know it's a hard thing trying to do all my work and run that campaign, but I felt like if it was not me, If it was not other people, it can be another person.
Somebody that you trust.
This is the mindset we got to take. It doesn't always have to be me on the ballot. That we have other people who are more qualified, who are just as able to run. And I'm putting my hands up. I agree. I accepted today to be his campaign manager. I just want to put it out here. You will see a whole lot of men will be out there campaigning, door knocking. Reverend Daniel Goba is the name. Please remember that we have to have a Liberian on the city council in Brooklyn Park, and that's the best candidate we found.
Yeah, I think that's is huge, and I think we should encourage competent, qualified people to take both local, state, or whatever federal level. You see, we always complain that the Hispanic is Hispanic. Why? They involve into the politics. They don't say, oh, when election or when they're having a local standing, I'm going to do triple, I'm going to do double. No, they get involved, and this is how they sit at the head table to make these state local decisions. Congratulations. We hope to have that conversation with him. That would be a great thing. And we want to hear from him, regardless of it being Liberian. We will, hear from him how he got to this point, how he got to this decision, and what really honor his bell. Okay, so guys, tomorrow's meeting. I don't know how that meeting is really different. This clear, but
what kind of meeting you talking about? UP meeting in Biansona?
We want to know. We're tired with this.
But Koto says she will give you the code so you can log in and get it listen.
Oh, okay.
You need the conference code.
I didn't tell you that.
I will just accuse about that meeting tomorrow.
No, the meeting,
so that can be the unity party. I need a chat room.
Okay, guys.
The Ome will be chairing that meeting.
Yeah, at this end, and tomorrow is what, Thursday? Yeah, we are tomorrow, and so Friday.
Yeah, Thursday is our day off. So
yeah, we're off tomorrow.
Well, let's cut to one count with a UP special tomorrow. Then we can have an emergency.
I won't even if anything, just throw the message in the chat. Maybe we can have you and Pat George here.
Good news that I will come with a special. If not, then
or Walton Keto, you and Keto can come.
Yeah, Keto can do that one.
Keto will find me.
The poor GOL guy. Okay, Dr. George Toto, Sese, Pat George. Again, Sese, you were saying here, Pat George, I want to say thank you. This is a sacrifice by itself. People leaving work, abandoning family to come and sit. It's a lot. It comes with commitment, and that's what I've been shown on this network since you guys came in, so all of us. And beyond that, the overwhelming support of one of our own mother passing, the contribution, that measure that you were saying here, Pat George was saying here, we have to, and I have to re-echo that. We'll do this. Sometimes we'll get another throw. From there, we'll go have that appetite or crack those jokes in our chat room. And I think that's how it's supposed to be. Everything here can be yes or no. We just agree, But so far, it's good. And I'm looking forward you taking a slot here. I don't know how you and Emma George will do it, but I want part, and I'm going to put my mother inside George, and Dulaka will.
From Fiamma, the swan right there.
Where's the swan?
If Baba is a left footed business.
Oh yeah.
He said you stole the mess that I didn't believe.
You still like it.
On Roma Fide, people are so wrong. I mean, every day Roma Fide ball won't beat me.
You sure if you stand on your district, everybody from San can be peaceful. You the first on your district.
No. Sana but have peaceful. I try.
You don't like you from wait. Let me know like you from Zota or from Pantata.
I said Reverend sent me a message. He said that was so every day that man there are waiting for him. Like he just said that and be talking your talk.
Let me go to Mama B.
Mr. Josh, that 2 hours get a problem now. My uncle, the senator, king, and say, I get 1 minute away here and away here. Now you get medical problem.
Mama Bridge was crying the other day. One of our sisters left from here to go help in Salala there. Mama Bridge almost got heart attack. She thought the lady going there to run. She was like crazy.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. And have a pleasant
we're serving in the road to our village. One representative.
President Thomas Yaya.
so much for the evening. Tonight, by God's willing, we're going to be back here Friday with more editions of LPR-TV Live with the panelists.
Adama Keita.
Soyons sensibles, tout le monde sera admis, même le dernier de la classe. La mort est un examen auquel tout le monde participera. Soyons en sûrs, tout le monde sera admis, même le dernier.